Okay. So I told Shane I can write and kind of lead
Okay.
this time.
Perfect.
So I guess we'll just jump right in. So the first question, what threats to children and families did Elder Holland mention? How has Babylon influenced the development of the threats to children and families that you have chosen to address? Where to start?
I know.
Um,
Is this the one where he's talking about the football player, right? And how
Mhm.
or no, basketball. That's it. Basketball. I don't know why I'm thinking football. Okay. Just making sure I listen to the right one because I've listened to like several talks this week and so
Yeah.
I'm like, which one was it? Okay. Threats against the family. Let me pull it up so I can look at it again.
Sorry, Shane, go ahead. Do you have something?
No, I
Okay.
about children and families and
Yeah, that's what okay, that's what I'm like. I don't remember that part. Like I remember him talking about leaving your religion at the door, like checking your
Yeah.
religion at the
right.
door and saying something about that, but I don't
I
really
feel like they mostly talked about family and children in Brother Rarick's video.
Yes.
So maybe we'll just kind of go off that. And because he basically
Okay.
just talked about like Elder Holland just talked about threats to like our religion and
But maybe that's threats to the family too, I guess. Because if
yeah,
it's towards a religion and you're teaching your kids your religion, then
yeah,
wouldn't that be a threat against the family?
yeah. I think that's a good point.
Possibly.
um, so what were so he shared the three stories of. Well, his like main focus was that Babylon is attacking again,
Mm-hmm.
but that this
Right.
time we won't flee, we'll fight back. And
Mm-hmm.
then, so yeah, so he
Right.
talked about checking your religion at the door, and the girl that came in with the rainbow hair and tattoos or and piercings and stuff,
Yeah.
and how I guess his point with that was just to like you need to reach out because you don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the last
Right. It
one?
was like there were like attacks overall, and then there were like individual circumstances we had to deal with.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the song that he brings up,
Mm-hmm.
Israel, Israel, God is calling. So maybe he's in a way talking to families like God is calling us to defend because this week we've been talking about defending the family. So maybe his point is like even us as individuals and us as families need to defend, our rights, need to speak up because we are supposed to be Zion, you know, and if we don't do something, like if everyone's voice is going to be louder than ours, then it's not going to then we're not going to have a say and it's going to get worse. So I think maybe his point is for us to speak up and speak out. I don't know.
That's good.
Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Yeah, I'm just writing some of it down so I don't forget.
Okay.
Um,
Because maybe like her point is like, and he's not necessarily directing towards families, but his point is that we're all are in families. So I guess in a way it's all towards families because we are this big family.
yeah. Well, he mentioned
Right.
too the line in sorry, the line in the Young Women's theme about
Mm-hmm.
we'll stand up as witnesses of God at all times, all things, and all places.
All places, not
Mm-hmm.
just some. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all times. This especially this time. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
important. Sorry, Shane. Go ahead. Yeah, it like pops up anytime like a noise is made, so I don't know if like you're talking or if it's just like you tapped your keyboard or something. So I keep thinking I'm interrupting you. Okay.
Oh, he talked about that police officer though, and
Oh, that's
how
right.
he
That's the
went to
other one.
that one home.
That was so sad.
and that was really sad. And he was saying, "Will you please adopt me?" Oh, that was really sad.
That was really depressing.
I was like, stop talking about this now.
Yeah. I wanted to hear like the rest of the story, like how it ended.
How it ended. I'm like, did he adopt him?
Yeah, do something. Um, the... Sorry, I'm just writing a few things down.
It's fine. So did you guys not have to post anything when I posted something last week? That's how it works, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I just don't want to like have her be like, you failed.
You didn't post. At least I haven't gotten a 0 yet, so.
That's good.
Okay, so we can add to this if we want. I just put, as members of the church, we are called to be Zion, and as individuals, we need to be able to stand up and speak out against Babylon. Elder Holland mentioned the line from the Young Women's Theme that said, "We are to stand as witnesses of God at all times and in all things and in all places." I guess we can just add, as members, we know the truth and importance of families, and we need to be able to, we need to defend them against Babylon's army, Babylon's untruths or whatever.
That's great. Then you can emphasize, like his talk about Babylon, I guess.
I just added, as members, we know the truth and importance of the family, and it's our duty to defend it against the Babylonian ideals. If I could spell.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay. Next question, unless you guys wanted to add anything to that.
Sounds good to me.
How does Elder Holland's description of Babylon and Israel coincide with defending the doctrine of the family in these latter days? We kind of talked about that.
Well, at the end, he talks about showing compassion towards others and being loyal to the commandments. Like, that's like his lesson to closer. I think that's the end, maybe.
Yeah. What was the first part you said? It talks about having what for others?
Being compassionate towards others. So showing compassion. Because he then talks about the girl with the colored hair and all the earrings or whatever, and he said, how would we respond to her, And he basically says you need to show compassion to her.
Oh, that's right. Because, there was that other video, too. He talks about how, which that's kind of like checking your religion at the door, how you need to, he said something about, I think I wrote it down, about how we respond needs to always make things better. Like, you're going into it getting angry. And, okay, I put, not only do we need to have the strength to stand and defend the family, but we need to know when to have compassion and love for those that are struggling to find the right way.
Okay.
I'll just add.
So in the first question, does it ask about what kind of threats are in the families?
Yeah.
Did we address that?
Not really, just that they're kind of under attack.
We could kind of address like the points of how, I don't know, because the colored, the kid that was at home and he had to be tucked in by the police officer, we could address that some of the problems are like drug and alcohol, because that's what was going on in the home was drug and alcohol abuse, and how that addiction affects families. Like no matter what kind of addiction it is, it still affects families in not good ways.
So I was reading through Elder Holland's talk, and I was just reading about how he's talking about Joseph Smith's time and how Babylon was trying to eradicate Mormons. And so they had to flee Zion. And I was just trying to think about how does that compare to us defending the doctrine in these latter days? What do you guys think on that? I'm trying to think of a way that it's similar. Because like the saints, let's see, hold on just a sec. Sorry about that. My daughter was almost crawling down the stairs.
Good catch. I wish I knew how to spell anything. Okay, so maybe what we put for the first answer, we could put for the second question. And then for the first, I put a big threat to the family in this day is selfishness. Many people either don't have families, well, I should say don't want families, or they have families but take care of only themselves. Like the story of the police officer and the children, the so-called caretakers were only worried about indulging themselves.
Yeah, I think self-indulgence is a huge one now. It's just all about the self and what can I get instead of what can I do for others or things like that. And I think that's his point on compassion too, is you can't be compassionate if you're thinking of yourself.
So I added, we're living in an increasingly me world, and the idea of compassion is being pushed out of the way. Okay, and then I'll just put what we had for the first question as our second question answer. Okay. Do you guys want to add anything to either of those two?
I think they're good.
That sounds good.
Shane, what was your question earlier? You said something about Joseph Smith and the people.
They were pushing out the Mormons.
Well, the second question, it says, how does Elder Holland's description of Babylon defending the doctrine of family in these latter days? And one of his descriptions of Babylon was when he talked about Joseph Smith. They were everywhere, and they were trying to find Zion. And so I was just trying to, that relates to the challenges we face today. And I was thinking a lot of the challenges that we face are more spiritual,
Yeah.
but more, they're more like we're fighting for ideas and
ideology.
and politics.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily, I think I wrote on something, it's not a war of, like, guns or, I don't know, whatever, but it's more of a war of words. It's a war of opinions and definitions that people don't agree with.
Exactly.
Which I think at times can even be more harmful than.
Yeah. I think because they're harder to defend against and harder to see them coming. I mean, you can see a mob marching at you and turn around and run.
Yeah.
But you can't necessarily see, like in Brother Robert's video, he's talking about the girl that said, I can't watch my favorite TV show anymore because it's anti-Christ, because it's anti-family. Like, I mean, that's not, I'm pretty sure she's probably talking about, what's that, Modern Family, which I love too. But yeah, I mean, like, you don't think of that as like, I mean, you think it's funny and, but then you don't realize, like, okay, then you're like watching it, you're accepting that the way these families live is okay, and that's not what we believe,
I think, like, I was sitting there, like, listening to all this stuff and, reading it, and I was thinking, I didn't realize I was actually in a war. Like, I see war as bloodshed and people dying, but it's more like our opinions and stuff are dying. But I think it's kind of sad because it's just like sometimes we don't realize it, and so I think the people that are in this war or who have started this war don't realize that they've started it or don't realize that it's happening. So then people take sides and they don't even know the other side because they don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I think
or they don't realize they're in a war, and so they don't
exactly
defend against.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the point of these first couple lessons is like to be able to defend ourselves, we need to know what we're defending.
Yeah. Let's see. You said earlier, you said we have to defend less against physical threats and more against like ideology and what else did you say? Sorry, you had a really good word and now I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. Shane said some good stuff on that too. Yeah.
Spiritual threats.
Just more of a spiritual war than a physical war.
Yeah.
So for question, I think this is question 2 still, right? So I had said, we as members of the church are called to be Zion individuals. We need to be able to stand up and speak out against Babylon. Elder Holland mentioned the women's theme. As members, we know the truth and importance of families, and it's our duty to defend it against the Babylonian ideals. Compared to the physical struggles of the saints in Joseph Smith's time, we have to defend our families less against physical threats and more against ideology and spiritual threats. We are in a spiritual war rather than a physical one.
Yes, that's great.
Yep.
Okay. What attributes did Elder Holland expound on that make you more effective family advocates?
I think that would go along with the compassionate thing and the righteous judgment that he talked about.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know really how you want to expound upon that, but
we'll just write those down.
One of I like when he talked about the girl with the crazy hair and the rings and the too shorter skirt stuff. And he talked about how you don't want to make the situation worse. Otherwise you'll be the greater offense if you are judgmental. So we should follow the Spirit. That's basically what he said. I think, because he said that it was a gift to know what to say in all these different situations.
Yeah. I loved that he said it's a gift.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I never thought about it that way, but sometimes it is really, really hard to be so compassionate and so kind when our natural man wants to judge others.
Right. It's true, and every situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have compassion and righteous judgment are essential tools to have in our arsenal during this war. We will experience many difficult and delicate situations, and we need to pray for the gift to know the correct things to say in these situations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me look at this question one more time. So he asks what characteristics and attributes. Well, he says, so I mean, maybe better disciples of Christ, because he said some issues and laws have eternal consequences. So I think, we need to be smart disciples of Christ, as in we need to know the gospel and understand that kind of what's going on around us. We need to be aware, because if we're not, then we're just blindly following, which is never a good idea. Because when we have to defend ourselves alone, we're going to fall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just added to it, working to develop these gifts and characteristics will help us become better and spiritually smarter disciples of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Could add working closely with other members is also important, so you don't have to stand alone or something like that. So working closely on these things with your family, actually.
Mm-hmm. Because in the end, your family is the one that's there.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for that one?
I don't think so.
Okay. According to what you've learned from Elder Holland's talk, what obligations, if any, do you have in the scenario like the one in the video below?
So the what would you do thing. Right?
Yeah, where the son's telling his dad that he's gay.
Mm-hmm. I think, as disciples of Christ, or, as people trying to create Zion, I think it's important to teach others, because that wasn't fair for that guy to, call out his son or whatever in this scenario. Mm-hmm. And we need to teach them to be compassionate and loving, even though sometimes it's hard when we, I think that would be hard if I had a sibling or a future child say that to me. That would be hard, because it's not something I believe in, and it's not part of God's plan. And so that would be really hard for me to see a child decide something other than what I strongly believe in. but it's the idea that Christ and Heavenly Father wouldn't say, oh, that's terrible, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
They love everyone. And so it's the idea of sharing that love with other people and sharing how to show that love to other people.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like we were talking about being able to say the right things.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of your obligations in that situation would be to pray to have that ability to say what this family needs to hear, and because it is a delicate and awkward and uncomfortable situation, but it's something that, like, I feel like if I saw that, I would definitely feel like, well, I need to say something. Like, this guy is going to push his kid away, and it's going to end up way worse than if he, but I don't feel like you could just go into it being like, dude, you got to chill out. Like, I think that would just give the wrong message in the first place. So let me see what.
I think it was good, like the compassion that the older man showed, and he said, I have a son that's gay or whatever, and I love him, and he said, you just have to love him.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I felt like that was a good message, just in general, because we're supposed to love everyone. And so
yeah,
we literally have taken upon ourselves Christ's name. So our job is to do what he would do, and that would be to love.
I agree.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say another obligation we have. Well, first off, to be loving, like you guys were talking about, and to be compassionate. And then we also have an obligation to not make it seem like it, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. We still have to stand up for that in some kind of a way. In such a situation like that, would definitely be really delicate, and you wouldn't want to be like, well, this is wrong. That probably wouldn't ever go well. But I think we do have that obligation, if it was like our child, to teach what the truth is.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like everyone handled it well, but I feel like none of them did it fully in the way they should have. Like the older couple, the first couple that talked about the addiction recovery program from the church. I feel like, okay, that was good because they were saying, like, standing up and saying, like, yeah, you can get through this and you can fix this and blah, blah, blah. But they also made it sound like, well, he can be cured.
Yeah, and I didn't like that. It sounded kind of like he had a disease or something. And
it's not like he is addicted to something and he just needs to get over that. Like, this is, and obviously, the way it was presented, it was a difficult thing for this kid, and he was upset about it. And it's not like he just chose, like, oh, all my friends are doing it, I'm going to be gay,
Yeah.
Which I think is 90% of, but that's something else. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, my sister, her brother-in-law, he was, I don't know if you could say he is gay, but he had a lot of problems with that, and like he was supposed to go on a mission, and then he decided he was gay, and then he didn't go, and he was very inactive for a while, and then decided he didn't want that lifestyle. And he understood, like, his mom obviously raised him better and taught him about family and the importance of family, and he decided he didn't want that lifestyle anymore, so he left that kind of lifestyle and decided to go back to church, and then worked his way up to get a temple recommend again, which is really awesome.
Yeah. See, I think that's the thing, like, you need to take a little bit of what the old couple was saying and say that, this isn't the way of things, and that this is something that needs to be worked on. But you need to take a little bit of what the other people were saying too, but theirs wasn't complete either, because they were just saying, oh, you just accept it, you just love them, and you'll work through it together. But no, you do need to love and accept them and work with them, but you need to also let them know this isn't right, and I still love you and will help you, but we are going to work on this together because this isn't what we, especially coming from an LDS family, this isn't what we believe, and you understand why it's so important to have a family the way that God planned. And so even though this is hard, I still love you and am here for you and want to work this out, but it's wrong and we need to work on it, I guess. Yeah, I guess I would just take like a combination of both reactions and
exactly.
Delicately. Okay.
I guess we can answer the last question as well.
Yeah. They kind of go hand in hand. I think we've kind of been talking about it. How he basically, so if you were a customer at the restaurant and observed the father and son exchange, what principle or attributes did Elder Helen teach that should guide your response? And I think that has to do with the compassion. And I also think it has to do with the leave your religion thing at the door. Like, we should never leave our religion at the door, We should always stick by our beliefs. And so it's the idea of we still need to teach and be compassionate at the same time.
I agree. We should always be disciples of Christ, even in those really tough situations, especially in those really tough situations.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this last one. I have never leave your religion at the door. Don't turn the other cheek in these kinds of situations because we have the knowledge of the truth. And we and we must always stand up for it. At the same time, don't get caught up in the situation and make it worse. I guess just by not having the kind of compassion and help from the Lord that's required.
Yes.
Okay. And then back to the one before. Let's see. Sorry, just trying to think of how to word this.
So I don't think she wants all the questions on there. It says at the end of your discussion, have one or all group members make a summary statement of what your group's consensus is in the discussed questions.
Oh, okay.
So probably just take out the questions and then combine them all together.
Okay. One big paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, for that last question, I just put one obligation we have would be to have compassion for this family as well as to pray for the right words to come to help them understand the truth. We have an obligation to stand for the truth in all times and places.
Sounds good.
Sweet. That was well fun.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, and then I can just put this up in a summary form and post it and call it good, I think.
Okay.
Any
All right.
last comments?
I don't think so.
Next week.
Okay, sounds good. I guess same time next week. And
All right.
so Shane, did you want to record and lead too, or just have one of us set up the recording?
I don't know if I know how to set up the recording. I can give it a shot. How hard is it?
Hello?
I don't know.
I heard,
Sometimes.
sorry, it cut off. I heard that you can give it a shot and then your mouth was moving, but I didn't hear anything.
He said
I was
he's
just
never
wondering.
done it before.
Oh, that's fine.
Right.
I can record again or something if you need me to.
I can definitely type it up.
Okay, sweet. We can do that then.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well,
So is
Thanks.
it going to be 6:15 then?
oh, it's to you, Shane.
6 o'clock is fine.
6 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, if that ever happens, like if you guys need to wait, a certain amount of time or whatever, just let me know, or whoever's recording. I'm totally fine with that. So,
Perfect. Sounds good.
all right.
Sure.
All right. See you next week. Bye.
Great. Bye.
Yeah.